Welcome into the CHGO Bears podcast on this glorious Monday, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app, use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Nicholas Moreano with you here. What's up, boys?
Great weekend. Good to see you guys. A lot of CHGO love out there. Got shout-outs today, Adam Hoge. Very excited about it.
What?
Shout-outs.
We got people in the streets?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah. You know what the best thing I saw this weekend was? And there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, Michael Block. The golf was amazing.
Sock sweep?
Sox swept. No, the best thing I saw was a video on social media of Mark Carman tweeting at the new mayor of Chicago about the stupid-ass parking signs that exist all over the city.
You liked that one.
That was the best thing I saw.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Hold on.
Thank you.
Like the ones,
appreciate it.
the street sweeping ones? Is that the ones
The
you're
ones
talking
where
about?
there's like one sign here that says you can park here for these hours, but you walk 20 yards the other way, and there's a different sign that says different hours because there's three different things happening there. They're trying to just create tickets.
Yeah, I get the fact that, we got a lot of challenges in the city. I get the fact that, it can be a challenge to try to do everything that needs to be done. I also get the fact that, you could at least do the bare minimum for the people that either are visiting and or live in your city and put up an accurate sign and not try to steal from us. That'd be nice. Come on, Brandon, you can do it.
I have a bone to pick with, I guess, our new mayor. I was going to suggest the alderman of this neighborhood. Those signs that are for, street sweeping where it's Thursday, and there's big orange signs posted on this block. Why do they just never take them down? Was it last Thursday? Was it 3 Thursdays ago? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And then it's am I not supposed to park there? Even though I know in my head, that sign was totally there last week, and that's when I did it. But I guess I just can't park there.
Scared for my life every time I park down here.
Clean up your trash, man. Clean up your trash.
And those signs are nothing new. I mean, these issues have existed since I grew up in the city. And the thing you're bringing up with the street sweeping signs, those are the same signs they've used for 30 years. Yeah. I used to just take them down. After a couple days when they'd still be on the tree, I would just take my scissors out there, walk down the street, and cut them down.
That's good.
Because no one else was going to do them.
It's a good move.
Rogue Hoge.
Ridiculous. I'm pretty sure it was illegal.
Rogue Hoge. I
Rogue
like
Hoge.
it.
Yeah.
Well, early shout out to my guy John at Panera. We had a great. I was just doing my Sunday morning Bears studying. He walked up, said hello. He's like, he's like, what are you talking about tomorrow? I'm like, I have no idea. That's why I'm here, John. Me and Panera Sunday morning. That's what we do.
I got a new like button. I got peanut.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
but still not as good as the Mark Carman one.
I like that upgrade.
But that is
it's a good one.
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
A couple of business items to start the week for you. First of all, it's a big day for the Bears. OTAs officially getting underway. This is the first day on the practice field as a team. Now, they're still not wearing pads, but all this work they've put in the offseason, the meetings that they've had, the workouts that they've had, this is a full practice happening today. Tomorrow's will be open to the media, so Nick and I will be at practice tomorrow. We will have a full OTA recap show for you at 3 o'clock, but that's not the only show you're getting tomorrow. We are double dipping tomorrow with 2 shows because live here at our normal time at noon on Tuesday will be Richard Dent.
Sack man's coming. I'm your man, Dent. If a quarterback throws, he's going to get bent. Kevin Kadek, myself are going to be doing the special show, and we'll try not to hug Richard too many times.
Yeah,
during the
is
interview.
this going to be the Farley-McCartney interview? I just feel like that's going to be the vibe.
I'm actually confident in myself in this one, and I love Richard, but Kevin's pretty into this thing. So
Having Kadek looking over, smiling.
Yeah, for those that don't understand the reference that Lawrence just made, it's the amazing Farley interview with Paul McCartney on Saturday Night Live back in the day.
Remember when you were in the Beatles?
Hey,
that was cool.
I've actually seen that one.
Richard, remember when you set that sack record? Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah.
We'll
You should just do that
for
the whole
55
time.
minutes.
We'll be
That'll
reminding Richard and everybody else that the dude made $95,000, which is a lot of money, by the way, for a regular working man, but not so much when you're on the way to be the MVP of the Super Bowl on the greatest team of all time. $95K was what Richard Dent was making in 1985.
Hey, remember that time you won the Super Bowl? That was cool.
You guys beat the Patriots. I think it was 46-10. By the way, I don't think the Bears have won it again.
Did you say Mark from Panera? Was that his name? I think he's in the comments.
John from Panera.
John, my bad.
Yeah.
1901 Madison.
And I apologize to my guy that I have it somewhere. I just can't find it right now. But I walked into Play It Against Sports yesterday. Got a new set of used clubs because I've been rocking the Fila's since 1996. So now I've got to use.
Sorry, Fila made golf clubs?
Yeah, I know. I think I had the only pair. So now I got a new set of pings. And walked right in.
Hopefully you have more than 2 clubs too.
Pins and aces right here.
Well, I just got the irons, so
Well, you said you had a pair of clubs. So
yeah, right now I got a set
sure.
irons.
Wait, that's a
set of irons
poker term. Pair of clubs.
From a straight diehard radio / CHGO listener.
Okay,
Nice.
So there we
That's awesome.
go. Appreciate you, 1901 Madison.
Well,
John,
we're really excited about tomorrow. I'm excited about OTAs. I admittedly geek out too much over these, but it's just. And we're going to get into some of the storylines right now. I know that Kevin Warren, Big Ten deal stuff's out there. We're going to talk about that in the next segment, I promise, because I actually did some digging on that this morning and have some new insights to bring to the table and sort of talk all that out. Because there's a lot in there, and it is interesting. It is relevant, the new team president. But before we get to that, OTA's kicking off this week. The weather couldn't be better. It's like we're hitting summer here in Chicago. Feels great. And there's going to be football back on the field. So there's a lot of interesting things that I know I can't wait to see at House Hall tomorrow. And let's just be honest. The first one is we get to see Justin Fields throw the ball to DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm. So Justin Fields, phase 2, getting the chemistry with all these new weapons. Like, that's something that I think everyone wants to see. How's this going to look? And the first OTA practice that we're going to be able to see open tomorrow, but that's the storyline. How Fields can get the connection, get the chemistry with all these new playmakers that he has. So that's going to be an obvious one that kind of glares out to you as we're watching tomorrow.
Will there be ample videos coming from both of you tomorrow, or what's the rules on that?
Certain portions practice.
You know the practice rules.
Well, I don't know. Like OTAs are like slightly different.
Is it going to be like
standard 10-minute window?
You get to watch. You get to film
Stretch,
stretching.
maybe a little
I think they
individual?
loosen just a little bit, like an extra few minutes of them actually doing individual drills.
Is it where they're like stretching like 57 yards down the field?
Yeah.
And you have to like zoom in.
Got the
zoom in.
zoom on my S23 Ultra. I got you guys. And you should follow the CHGO Sports Instagram because we'll be posting some videos on there that, we'll...
Oh, we're doing that again. Okay. This is exciting news.
No, this is something you don't have to worry
on the
about.
fly. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Even better.
Yeah.
You're good.
He's just talking about the Instagram story. We'll have you covered, but I think beyond just the obvious of you get to see these new pieces out there and see what they can do. Of course, again, without pads, but it's especially when it just comes to like 7-on-7, some of those one-on-one battles. We'll see some of this emphasis on the passing game. Remember that Flus has talked about going back to the owners' meetings?
Yep.
Hey, we're going to spend more time on the passing game because that's the thing we have to get better at. What a concept. I like it.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
You let me know if I can bust into the athletic piece along those lines now. Or would you like to say
No,
that?
you can't.
I cannot. Okay.
No.
Okay. Yep. Right. Great. I'll go rewind backwards. Yes. Throw footballs, many of them in OTAs.
We
That'll
are
be
going to
fun.
get into that, though, because I know Kevin Fishbane and who's my podcast partner?
that
Adam
Adam guy?
Johns, I think is his name. They've been working on that story for a long time. Otherwise, though, I wanted to play a game.
Oh, I like games.
Uh-oh.
Predict the running back rotation as it presents tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Khalil Herbert,
Agreed.
Dante Foreman, Roschon Johnson,
Tristan Ebner.
Travis Homer. Do you
Horace
want to
Grant.
put our guy Kari Blasting game as a fullback in this
No, I'm
running
taking
back
that out. I'm
rotation?
just talking. Yeah.
Sandalwood?
Guess I'll still go Ebner over Homer because I still think Homer was more. I don't know. That one's kind of tough.
I don't think you know your Flus. I think Ebner's over Roschon, brother. Flus is going to give that respect to the vet.
The vet
He's a vet. He's been here. He's done. He's done through
for
it.
a day and a half.
Man went through it.
Did
Roschon's,
you hear how the coaches were already talking about Roschon Johnson at rookie minicamp?
well,
Guy came in, knew the whole offense in like one day.
I'm not saying
Picked up
he's
all the water
not gonna-
bottles the next day?
He picked up the water bottles. You were all over the water bottle pickup. That was your favorite thing.
The dude is an attention to detail, wants things done the right way. I love Roschon Johnson, and I think that Roschon Johnson, as a money man, is calling him Rojo.
I like it.
Although he says too slow for my taste. Let's slow down there, money man. Let's see him in action at NFL speed before we go that far. But I think Rojo would not expect to be ahead of Ebner because he's a rookie, and rookies got to make their way on the first day of OTAs, second day of OTAs.
Yeah, I don't think Roschon Johnson later in the year, we'll see how that depth chart changes, but I'm still going Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman. I'll put Travis Homer as a third guy. Yes. You know, in Kauai, they have a cave that looks like Homer Simpson, like flipping the bird at you. Did you see that, Adam? I don't know. I'll have to give you that picture. I'll put it in the Slack. But that's how I have it going right now. But I would not be surprised if Roschon Johnson later on in the year is getting more of these carries, is proving to this coaching staff, hey, you can put me out in third downs. I can be a pass blocker. I can pass catch out of the backfield. He has a skill set that serves well for being a guy that you can keep on the field and you know you can trust him to do his assignment. So really high on what Roschon Johnson can do even as a rookie in 2023.
See, I think that's my big prediction. I think he's RB3 already tomorrow. Roschon Johnson.
I mean, for our second show tomorrow, if he is, I want the show led with that and breaking Rojo. He's already up to 3, headed to 1. Will he surpass before opening day Khalil Herbert? Let's go.
Some of the other position battles.
Yes.
So that we'll be keeping an eye on. Number 2 outside corner.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Tyreek? You ready?
Tyreek Stevenson. Now, I'm guessing he will not be out there with the starters right away.
Kindle Vildor?
Still Kindle Vildor. Now, that's somebody that you could put in the respective veteran who's, put some reps in out there on Sundays.
What about a Josh Blackwell? Could he be a respected veteran?
I think he's more of a
mid-season pickup, outstanding special
this
team.
is second year.
He's on the roster, but yeah, I think he makes the team.
Nickel corner, yep.
Right, but is he ahead?
53-man roster projection right now. Boom. Carm, go.
I got
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
All I know is that my guy Josh Blackwell better be on it. I enjoy him.
I think he will be. I think he's good to go. What do you got there?
Before we actually dive into more position, I'm just interested at Cody Whitehair going back to center. We haven't seen him snap the football in, a couple years? And now Justin Fields, we talk about developing the chemistry with all the new playmakers. That's also, you have to develop the chemistry with your center again. That's going to be something new for Justin Fields. So along with all the position battles, that's also something to kind of just watch out for in OTAs as we're kind of starting to see the new development of this offense in year 2 of Getsy's scheme.
Since you brought up Cody Whitehair, I do want to give a belated, one-day late happy birthday to the greatest player in the history of the Bears who wore 87, good old Ed Obradovich, whose birthday was yesterday and would always scream out about Cody Whitehair, he's not a center. Well,
he is again.
He is again,
He
OB.
is again.
Happy birthday, brother.
I'm not that worried about Cody Whitehair going back to center, but I will be keeping an eye on the snaps because that was kind of always somewhat of a consistent issue with him that you had 2.5 maybe on average bad snaps per game almost at certain times. So that's something to watch. But
2.5 bad snaps per game.
Yeah, just,
over under.
Yeah.
What would be the league average on that?
I don't know. I'm just going off the top of my head on that number and completely made it up.
0.5? I think it's a 0.5er. One bad snap a game.
Well, with Sam Messifer, it was a little higher than most. But
good luck to Sam. Good man,
Baltimore
decent.
Ravens.
Just got to stop with the low snaps, man. Just
I wonder how
vaguely hit the strike zone.
Can we do a role play here? You're Cody Whitehair. I'm me. How do you feel about moving back to center?
Happy to be playing and not having to move my family.
Let's do it with Nick. How do you feel about moving back to center?
I do whatever I need to for the team. I'm a team guy first.
But as a veteran, do you think it's at least somewhat challenging at this stage of your career to move back to center?
I've always seen myself as a versatile player, Mark, and wherever you put me, I'm going to do my best to succeed.
Do you think that in a perfect
Cody Whitehair?
Yes, you are.
Two Cody Whitehairs?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking for the answer. Do you think? Were you surprised that they came to you with this request after however many years now you have not been playing the position?
No, because I
I'll give you the answer you want.
haven't
Mark.
played particularly well at guard the last couple of years.
You are bad, Cody Whitehair. You would never say that. He would never say he sucks at guard.
He said last year he didn't have his best season. He's been very honest about his somewhat recent struggles, which haven't been that big of struggles.
Okay, fine.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to say
This is bullshit. I'm not going to center.
I'm tired of this.
I want you to. This is what I want you. You be me. Go ahead.
Oh God, this is scary.
You be you. You be
Oh
you.
my gosh,
You
here
be
we
you.
go.
You be you.
No, I want to be
You're Cody Whitehair.
I'm Cody Whitehair.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to do my. I'm trying to think of Mark Carman. You're always looking up. Hey man, are you really cool with this?
That's good.
I mean, there's got to be a part of you that's like, man, I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been playing pretty well at guard. I don't deserve this. No, not at all. That was pretty good. Carm.
That was good.
Carm,
That
yeah.
was good. And if I'm gonna get the answer, because Carm was asking that, they instantly you feel comfortable with me, so I'm gonna tell you, Carm, that. Well, to be honest, I was a little bit surprised that they're putting me back there, but I look at it as a challenge, and I want us to win football games, and I'm going to do the best I possibly can to do it.
kinda like being Carm.
But I do feel like it is.
Yikes.
But it is different.
I think I'm gonna go outside and just start yelling at street signs.
That was a good Cody Whitehair.
Do a show.
Carm did
do
good Cody.
a bonus show in my car on the way home.
Hey,
That's a lot of
it's
stuff.
been there's lots of. I went to the beach yesterday. You could do that.
You can do that. Yeah.
I went.
We have beaches in Chicago.
I went to the beach. Good. I was in the suburbs, and so I stopped by Rosewood Beach. I was gonna take a swim.
Where's Rosewood Beach? I don't know
That's
that beach. Secret Beach.
Ravinia area,
Oh.
north suburbs. Very strong elitist ville that has a beautiful beach. So I walked in. I got the water up to my knees.
It's cold.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, what's the temperature of the lake right now?
It was cold.
Like 58.
I mean, cold. I mean, even the kids weren't swimming.
The kids, they
Well, even
they'll
on
go in.
even on the chain over the weekend, where the water warms up a lot faster, it felt like Lake Michigan. So there wasn't much.
I mean, it was.
My kid was in up to his knees, and I was like, "You're nuts! What are you doing? It's freezing."
Kids are different. Those kids are different.
Kids are
All
different.
right, back to Bears. Thank you.
Good
job, Cody's.
All the Codys.
I just think it's to wrap that up though real quick. I think you are asking a lot of the dude. Go back to center, build that relationship with Justin Fields, and by the way, we're looking to take a major step forward this year, and you're right in the thick of it. It's a significant ask.
It is, but he's done it before.
Veteran player.
I think it speaks to a larger, not necessarily problem, but just reality that they're still not set on that O-line by any means. I mean, going back to a story, to your point from the Bears side of this, is going back to a storyline that we've already talked about like 4 or 5 years ago
True, yeah.
Right.
is somewhat concerning.
Thank you.
Because this was an issue, and I kind of feel uncomfortable talking about it because, and I always have, because it's not like Cody Whitehair's ever really done a bad job. He's just been such a solid pro that you know is going to play, first and foremost, be durable, and, not necessarily be the problem, or even close to the weakest link on the offensive line. But that being said, the fact that it persists that like, oh, should he be a center? Should he be a guard? Like, half of it is definitely you have problems at these other positions, and Cody's the best solution. But the other half is because he hasn't necessarily solidified himself as like, I'm an all-pro center or guard. You can't move me because this is my spot, and just because I'm that rock solid. So it's. But, dude, the guy's played so much good football for you over the years. And by adding Nate Davis, I mean, what's your other solution?
There isn't a good one
Well,
right now. Look,
Not
when we
play
talk,
Tevin Jenkins?
No,
Yeah.
I guess that's my like. Something had to move there. Cut him. You cut Cody Whitehair and just play
you
Lucas
save
Patrick.
money, but yeah, we haven't
really
seen
no-
Lucas Patrick
well,
enough.
Yeah.
Well, that goes into their offseason decisions. Like, you wanted Mike McGlinchey. It got too expensive, so you let that go, which is interesting, by the way, when you consider the Bears video that they just put out and Darnell Wright and how they liked him all the way back there, but yet they were bidding big on McGlinchey, or they were in the bidding. Let's say that. And then you decide on Nate Davis, knowing that you're going to have to move people around and knowing that you don't have a clear answer at center. So those are – that would have been a very interesting conversation to hear how that went down on the next Bears Inside Behind the Scenes video 1920. I mean, I didn't think they were going to sign a right guard. I don't think anybody did, right? I mean, I wouldn't have bet on Nate Davis that play.
I think we talked. I mean,
Well, with the uncertainty of like maybe Tevin Jenkins health-wise, like I guess it could have been a possibility. But one last thing too, maybe to wrap up on the Cody Whitehair discussion. When we talked to Chris Morgan, in a week and a half ago, he talked about all the positions on the offensive line. Every position almost seemed like they had their guy who's going to be the starting player, except for center. He said, we have a bunch of guys there that we're going to kind of revolve and see how it goes. Seemed like Cody Whitehair was going to get the first notch at it, but right tackle, left guard, right guard. But the center position was the one thing that he kind of left open.
I think that's him just kind of protecting Lucas Patrick, a veteran,
Could
a
be.
little bit, and not just necessarily calling him a backup right away. But I fully expect that to be the plan, barring injury or barring, a change in how these guys are playing.
Jaden Boley in the comments here saying, what if Doug Kramer just balls out? Which I'm not sure if that. Yeah, I assume that's actual real question, which it's possible. It is interesting. Like, what happens if Whitehair looks a little shaky and they're not comfortable with him, and you still have Lucas Patrick, and you got Kramer there? Could Whitehair end up being cut at some point here? I mean, I wouldn't say it's likely, but
Yeah, but when has Cody Whitehair ever been downright bad?
right,
To
which
the point
is
that you're going to cut him.
but
I just don't see that happening.
yeah. No, I agree. Highly unlikely, but he is older and coming off an injury, and you're asking him to go back to a position like there's some moving parts here.
All right, couple other things.
Yeah.
Interested to see the interior defensive line rotation and how quickly Jervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, start to assert themselves. Now, obviously, that along with, quite frankly, us evaluating which center is looking good, those go hand in hand because they're playing against each other. But they don't have pads on. We're not going to get answers. We can see snaps. Snaps are something I'll pay attention to, but we're not really going to have a good idea of, how these guys are performing until we see training camp practices with pads on. We see preseason games where they're going up against a different team, or the practices against the Colts in August when they're going up against a different team. Like, those will all carry way more weight. But this is where I like to, show up with a notebook and at least write down the rotations, because you get a good idea where things stand today before they get into the pads, before they get into the hardcore football. And then it's also who the hell are the edge rushers?
Good question, Adam. It's like you have obviously your Travis Gibson, your Dominic Robinson. They signed Green in the offseason. DeMarcus Walker's, and how it's going to be interesting for the snap's sake for that position as well, because none of the two guys that were here last year, and Dominic Robinson, Travis Gibson, I think showed you enough to feel like you could just pencil them in as your stars right now. And DeMarcus Walker, I think, is going to take one of those spots. So it's going to be interesting to see how those rotations go. And, again, they're not in pads, so you could see at least the burst off the edge, the bend that they have, the consistency off the snap. But they need guys to step up there with what they have right now.
Do we get a locker room access tomorrow?
No,
We
No?
do not.
Okay.
not until training camp ends.
I'll be, if you guys can then just do a intense, still in football uniform breakdown of how much bigger you think Dominic Robinson is from last year. I'd be
Okay.
curious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. But that's
I
the
like that.
exact type of stuff that you size up and you see this time of year. So that and then if he is bigger, how does he still have the get off? Does he still have the same athleticism?
Rooting for you, Dom Rob.
One last thing that I think is worth noting, and we really don't know for sure until we're there, and we can see who's practicing and who's not. But is there anyone not participating in OTAs? Are there any
Right.
contract issues that have popped up? Things like that.
You think Jalen Johnson's there?
Yeah, I think so, but
I don't know.
I don't know.
Those are obviously
you?
talks that have been happening.
I do, but I mean, that's someone who's looking for a deal and might know that he's got a lot of value in that room right now.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think last year.
I mean, I don't think you're elevating Tyreek.
Didn't
to
Roquan do all the OTAs and then he held out at training camp? No, he was even there at training camp. He just wasn't practicing.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Right. Well, he sat out for a little, and then he started. Then he showed up,
And then
but
he
didn't
started.
practice.
I think, he showed up for it was supposed to be a laid back Friday, I think, for one of the OTA practice. I don't know. And then we see 58 out there like, oh, crap. It's going to be a busy day here on the beat. Just kind of seeing
I'm
that.
trying to remember
Roquan's
all
back.
that. There's a lot. It was way more dramatic than it needed to be.
I also
Yeah.
want a Sanborn breakdown from both of you on how his health has come along.
Who's?
Sanborn?
Thank God.
God?
Okay. I'll make sure to conduct a physical tomorrow and get back to you.
His neck's still going to be as strong as ever, I can tell you that.
10 o'clock last night, I was scrolling through my phone and looking at old videos, and I watched my first ever interview with Jack Sanborn, and I give myself a straight F. It was terrible.
Wow.
It was not good.
Harsh.
We learned.
Harsh. All right. Hey, hope you were enjoying all the sports going on over the weekend. It was a fun weekend you had the Preakness, you had the PGA Championship,
NBA.
NBA playoffs, which
Sweep.
both series appear to
buckets.
be over. Of course, the NHL playoffs. Tons of stuff going on, including the White Sox sweeping the Royals and continuing to tease and fans everywhere. But
No, be optimistic. Come on,
about
man.
what?
They're coming back.
To where?
Back.
To
That
500.
division sucks. They're winning the division. Let's go.
Okay. And then where does that get you?
I don't
One
care.
win in the playoffs?
Oh, an exciting season of White Sox baseball. I had a great time out there on Saturday.
I mean, that could be another bottle of bourbon right there.
Give me a what?
Bottle of bourbon potentially.
I'm
if,
making that
Oh.
winning the division.
Not in the White
The
Sox.
one
Don't
we
do
agree
it.
on is that, a week and a half they'll have a better record than the Cubs?
Oof.
Maybe less than that?
I
You've
feel like,
been on that train.
I feel like I get credit for saying that first.
You said that like April 3rd.
Yes, and then again when they were
Yeah.
14 and 28, they're going to have a better record than the Cubs when this is all said
You
and done.
did. But regardless, this was all a long way of telling you about Fubo TV because all of this stuff, to have these types of conversations, you watch it on Fubo TV, 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device. It's really easy. And you can watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. Start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. You just sign up. It's so easy. There's no contract, no cable, no hassle. You get that 7-day free trial. Check it out. See how it goes. Just sign up. Start watching in minutes. Plus, you get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR coverage included at no extra charge. Watch local teams while traveling. And there's a lot more still coming up, of course, with the NHL, the NBA, Cubs and White Sox on Marquee and NBC. They got the F1. They got the French Open. Anything you need is there for you on Fubo TV. Watch the Cubs on Marquee. Watch the White Sox on NBC Sports Chicago with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
When Adam is back at Guaranteed Rate Field, you know what I can guarantee he's going to have, you guys?
What's that?
His Shady Rays, so he can take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn here at CHGO. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. Have my Shady Rays in my car. Easy access. I know I'm going to have my eyes protected. I know I'm going to look good wearing them. And what's awesome is if you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they'll send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is going to give you the best deal of the season. Go to ShadyRays.com and use the code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The Shady Rays are rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
All right. Interesting story came out yesterday in the morning and kind of hit more of the news cycle today. But Pete Thamel with a pretty in-depth story on the state of these Big Ten television deals. What does that have to do with the Bears? Well, they were put together and negotiated by Kevin Warren, now the Bears team president and CEO. And there's a lot in here to consume. But the bottom line is that despite these deals being announced last August, it's been almost a year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And them announcing that it was going to be a 7-year, $7 billion deal. Way more than had ever been done.
That was a B, right? B as in Billy.
Billion. $7 billion over 7 years. So $1 billion per year, essentially. They're not done yet with these deals. There were some initial contracts that were finally signed, I think, before Warren officially left. And the new commissioner is kind of scrambling, though, because there's some details here that were not really figured out. So, quickly, again, Pete Thamel, ESPN's the one that reported all this, reporting that there's more than $70 million that's suddenly in flux, which comes out to nearly $5 million per school, which per school, that's a significant amount of money. They rely on this money to, run all their operations, which the costs of those operations keep going up and up and up and up if they have to have better facilities, food, travel, all this stuff. It's a lot of money.
Where's the world's smallest violin? Keep going.
I know. We're getting there. So
It's got to be tough.
here's the details. The schools have recently found out that they're going to have to pay back nearly $40 million to Fox because, according to sources, Kevin Warren delivered NBC the Big Ten football title game in 2026 without the authority to do so. And this is all unfolded under the complicated backdrop of the Big Ten not actually controlling the rights to the inventory of this latest deal. The Big Ten Network does, which is majority owned by Fox. The Big Ten's also going to have to pay back $25 million in total for a deal to pay Fox back for the lost 2020 football game inventory, which fewer games were played in 2020 because of COVID. And then there's tens of $millions of value of the NBC primetime deal in flux because this has been actually a long rule that I'm kind of laughing reading this because some parts of this are like people in the Big Ten didn't know about this rule. It's like, what are you talking about? It is like, since I was a kid, you don't play night games in November.
I didn't know about this until today.
It's always been a thing in the Big Ten.
Okay.
It's very cold.
Also, who cares? What do you
Also,
mean?
you
It's
weren't getting
cool.
paid $1 billion then, and
Right.
keep going.
So those are, I mean, this is a big story, so I don't want to get too much into it, but those are kind of the main bullet points that there's up to $70 million of $7 billion
B.
that's in flux here at the finish line of these deals. So let's go through these a little bit more, okay? Because I'm trying to picture Kevin Warren dealing with each one of these items. let's start with the idea that he gave NBC the Big Ten football title game without the full authority to do so. Because for some reason, the Big Ten network owns the rights and not the Big Ten. And the Big Ten network is owned
by Fox.
51%, I think,
Yeah,
Fox
yeah,
owns.
51.
They have the majority ownership, I believe, and not the other way around. Well, who negotiated that?
Yeah, but it's
Delaney.
Right? Well,
Jim.
That's ridiculous.
right, but it's one pocket paying the other pocket. The TV deal for the Big Ten network is negotiated with Big Ten officials, like with Fox. They're all in control here. And
what you're trying to say is this is a problem of having way too many mouths
Cooks
to
in the
feed in a complicated TV deal. But my point is,
and they're bringing in NBC and CBS is what Kevin Warren was doing. Continue on.
But my point is, Kevin Warren's sitting there going, we have this great inventory to sell. Why does one of our network partners own the rights instead of us?
Well, they own
And
the
he's
right.
trying to get the most money from NBC that wants to pay for this.
Right.
And so
But they
I
own
can
the-
totally
should.
see from a business standpoint him being like, okay, NBC, we're going to give you that. We'll figure out the details of this later. But yes, you're NBC, if you're willing to pay us all this money, because think about it. At the end of the day, to your point, Carm, they're making all this money. This is way more money than they've ever had before, so we'll figure it out, which is probably why this thing's coming down to the finish line months and months later.
I just think that Kevin, like reading this piece, like Kevin Warren was just operating like as a businessman, right? Wants to make the most money for the league that he was still working for. And yet I don't like this whole thing, like communication, I think was a bit of an issue as you keep reading the piece, but Warren doesn't need to ask for permission. Like a lot of the coaches were upset with him, right? With kind of what these night games in November. Tom Izzo had some pretty strong quotes in there too, but
Izzo. He's a basketball coach. What the hell does he care?
he cares.
That's part of the thing. So this is where it gets so complicated because a lot of this piece is coaches moaning and complaining, and you have guys
But Izzo's playing night games. He's a basketball coach.
Right. But Izzo's in here saying we weren't consulted enough because there were some games that they were going to move to streaming only, and
I mean, that's
they
the way
weren't even
everything's
asked
going.
about it. And obviously, if you're a coach, you want your games on at least ESPN all the time.
There's even more money in streaming,
Ugh.
but you're going to have less exposure,
Yeah.
which Izzo doesn't want because he wants players to see his team and want to come to Michigan State and be a Sparty. So there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. The $25 million for COVID, like, come on, man. We all knew that was a problem. Yes, you got to pay back the inventory. Like, I don't even understand why that's included in this number.
But I think the big takeaway from this more than anything else is that Kevin Warren acted like Don Corleone and just made a deal on his own and basically I'm going to make an offer that they can't refuse and I'll figure it out and whatever parts need to be smoothed over, he'll get that done when he had to get it done. And to all the way to Tom Izzo, where maybe he eventually would have had somebody talk to Izzo and say, look, man, you're getting X, Y, and Z, and we'll make this right for you. But this is the best deal that we could do right now, and I'm not going to literally talk to every single part in every corner of this because I'm Kevin Warren and I am Don Corleone, and I'm doing this deal. And by the way, thank you. You should all be thanking me, and now I'm the president of the Bears later.
I'm going to make an offer you can't refuse.
That was pretty good. But yes, that's kind of yes, because this goes back to stuff I reported back in January when Kevin Warren's name first surfaced, in that in a macro sense, he in a very short time came in with his NFL guns and made the Big Ten a lot bigger. Let's not forget USC and UCLA coming in, stretching the entire country, making all this extra money with this big TV deal, which, can we please keep perspective here? Regardless of how much money they have to work out here towards the end, is still way more money than they've ever had before. I like these schools. I'm trying to picture these schools like whining about, no, we're making $5 million. We're not going to get $5 million of the 30 more at minimum we were already going to get. that was a bonus than we've ever had before? Like, what? Okay, so it's 25 instead of 30. It's still 25 more than it used to be.
I made 2 bets with Nick and Adam. One was that the Nuggets would win the Western Conference Finals. The other was that the Lakers were. Oh, my God. Carm owes Nick $1,000. But Hoge owes Carmen $10,000. I wonder how's Carmen going to survive paying Nick $1. I don't know how that's
God.
good. Carmen's really screwed here. He's going, no, Carmen's fine. He's getting.
But look, but I do want to make the point.
Kevin Warren made a good deal is my point on this, obviously.
But along the way, as I reported back in January, there were people at the individual schools very frustrated with his style. He was a lot to deal with. That was one thing was a direct quote that I reported back in January. But he still did his job.
That's what
And
he's
so,
there
like,
to
if
do.
you're trying to look at this from a Bears perspective, it's like, let's fast forward 10 years. If there's a glorious new stadium and it all worked out.
And Nicholas Moreano's taxes went up.
Yeah, then it's Nick's
Sorry,
problem.
Nick. We don't care. Go Bears.
But this is kind of where I want to tie this all around. Is this another warning sign to the other side of the deal that, like, the Bears might end up getting
Of course.
everything they want, and it might work out for them, and that's ultimately Kevin Warren's job. But as we've already learned from Soldier Field and the city of Chicago owning more than they owed originally on that.
We all know that ultimately in the Arlington Heights deal, the likelihood, maybe it won't go down this way, but the likelihood is that Moreano, Carman, Hoge, Kaduk, Benedetto, naked guy across the street who just came onto his balcony, we're all going to be the ones that are going to be paying extra for this move at some point. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it ain't going to be the football team because that's how this goes in Chicago and that's how it goes around the NFL.
I'm just this is a great job by Pete Thamel. It's a great story. It's stuff
Very
we didn't
in-depth.
know about. It's really good reporting. But I'm not going to lie. I laughed at a lot of it. Like, I'm trying to think of, you got Kevin Warren coming from the NFL. Where is there any other entity in the world that's as good as marketing his product and getting the most value? You want to play Thursday night? Sure. Now you get to play twice out there. You're like, you're whining about playing on Saturday night in front of a nationally televised audience because it's November?
Well,
Like, you're going to make this X amount more money because you have to play your game 3 hours later.
And by the way,
What?
with the new footprint, you know who's going to be playing those games? USC and UCLA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and
I mean, I guess maybe Penn State's going out to the Rose Bowl and has to play at
well,
night.
right,
Poor Penn
these night
State.
games, what I found the most interesting in the story for just going on the Big Ten angle, is for the Amel writes, while this is being worked through, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State recently agreed to concessions to make short-term sacrifices. So on Black Friday, Penn State's going to play Michigan State. And that was scheduled apparently before Penn State agreed to do it, but they're going to do it. And
Boo-hoo.
yeah,
Boo-hoo.
boo-hoo, right. And then that's what I say there. Penn State will play Michigan State, and then Ohio State will host Michigan State on November 11th, the latest ever home night game in Ohio State history. So Ohio State's in there twice, or Michigan State rather is in here twice. Okay, Michigan State. If I just confused anyone, but Michigan State's doing 2 late games at night to make this right. Ohio State, Penn State are doing 1. You know who's not in there? Michigan.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Michigan State should want to. That team's
Right,
mid.
exactly. But
honestly.
Michigan is getting out of this. Did anybody see what happened to Michigan over the weekend
Yeah, good times.
with new hire Shemi Schembeckler?
Yeah. What does that have to do with this, though?
I didn't see.
What does it have to? It doesn't have a whole lot to do with.
Well,
other than
you just made it seem like it had something
Well,
to do with
they're getting. Jim Harbaugh was being investigated for stuff that he did in COVID. Shemi Schembeckler's coming in. They're hiring this guy, and he's got all these tweets of liking all this stuff that's absolutely terrible and dating back to
I'm trying to keep this related to the Bears and what it has to do with the team. I'm sorry, I don't care
Jim Harbaugh
about
coached the Bears.
I don't.
Whatever. Michigan's getting out of this. It's annoying. I said at the start of this is from a Big Ten perspective. Michigan, you don't get to skirt on playing night games in November. You should have to do it too.
Look,
Ohio State's doing it twice.
The point of this is Kevin Warren still did his job. He got an amazing deal, and he's making more money for the conference. Along the way, he made a lot of people unhappy, it sounds like. I was told this morning that apparently at one point you had the TV networks calling the individual schools, trying to lobby them to play these night games in November, when it really shouldn't work that way. And obviously there were some communication breakdowns, but you got a lot of different coaches to please. Most of these coaches would love to wake up in the morning on Saturday, play at 11 a.m., get the W, and go home
Get done with
and,
it.
and enjoy some bourbon and time with their family. And it's like, okay, then you can have a nice $30 million TV deal. You want the $7 billion TV deal with all the extra money coming in for those facilities you want, the recruiting dollars you want, the food for your team. Like, sorry, you got to play 2 Friday night games.
That's it.
Like, come on. This is unbelievably. It's hilarious to read this. It's funny. It's actually funny. It's objectively funny.
Tying it back to the Bears is that, as you just said, by the way, 5 minutes ago, that Kevin Warren's going to make the very best deal possible for the Bears in the stadium thing. And
I'm just trying to picture, like, Roger Goodell, like, you want to play on Saturday night? We got Thursday night. We got Friday night. We got Sunday night. We got Monday night.
yeah, you think
Every
I care when
coach.
you're playing? I could care less when
You
you're
want to
playing.
kick off at 2:30 instead of 7 on the same day? Because it's November? What are you talking about? Like, it's just,
It's not how business goes.
oh, my God.
Not how business goes.
It's great. Okay.
I mean, dare I say, what about the student athletes? But that's a whole. That's clearly not.
That was my reaction to it. It's like, this is just so money. At least they got NIL going on now. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a crazy world they're living in college athletics right now. But hey, CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer since 1988. Got Goose IPA, 6-time medal winner at the Great American Beer Fest. Always in style with citrus aroma, bold hop finish. The tropical beer hug. They got the No Plans Pale Ale. What's that other one? Oh, the Full Pocket Pills. That's awesome.
It's the everyday beer. It's what brewers are drinking.
We have that in our fridge right now here at CHGO, and I really, really like that one. So you can grab ultra-fresh, brewery-exclusive beers at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer.
And you know it, you love it. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lowering their energy bills now and into the future. Nick.
Yeah, ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
That's a lot right there, Nick. You can go a little further, please, and explain how it all works.
Absolutely. An authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs, and these can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they could start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. And if you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy-saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz?
That's exactly what I said, Mark, so go schedule it today.
Yeah, Braggs.
Braggs.
Weird tweets by Braggs going on right now. Not watching the show anymore. Why are drywall people the happiest people on earth? It's always a party in there. Get back to focusing on the show. Enough on the drywall people. We need you here, not with the drywallers. It's messed up. Right in the middle of the show.
Well, I think he's probably laying brick right now, and there's drywallers there that are happier than he is.
Nope, can't be. Impossible.
Enrique, $2 Full pocket pills, solid 10 out of 10. Let's go Bears.
That is solid.
There we go.
Yeah,
Great score.
Also, to all the people in the chat that can't figure out what all that had to do with the Bears,
Kevin
sorry
Warren.
about that. That's your problem.
Remy did mention this earlier. Thank you for the super chat, Remy. She says, Hoge, forgot about the Chicago Sky, and y'all have the CHGO Sky. That was about the Fubo read. Shout out to the Sky. They're 2-0. Big weekend. But I don't know if they're on Fubo. Maybe that's why we didn't mention it. I don't know. That wasn't the ESPN game
I
yesterday.
didn't
Probably
forget
is.
about them. I just didn't know what channel they're on, and I didn't want to promise something that's not in it. But don't they have games on Marquee now?
They do have games on Marquee.
So if those games at least, would
and
be on
they're on
Fubo.
ESPN. Yes,
Okay.
you know. Actually, I think they're on ABC yesterday.
2-0.
Yeah, beat the Mercury.
Sky.
Although that's kind of cool. Brittany Griner's back.
That
was neat.
There's a couple other things we want to get to, including Jim Brown. But before we get to that, there's kind of this uneasiness that I know I feel, and I think is being felt around the league right now. So last month, a bunch of Detroit Lions got suspended for gambling. And Calvin Ridley got suspended last year. And there was another report that looked into this that said there's another wave of suspensions probably coming. Or at least there's an investigation into more players. I saw Kaylin Kaler from The Athletic tweet something that she talked to an agent who said if they looked at every team would be screwed.
Well, I also wonder, like, how many of these guys are being like, hey, mom, dad, girlfriend, friend, put this bet in for me. Wouldn't you think if you were in that position and you had some information and you wanted to take that risk, that's how you would do it?
I could use it. Some betting tips.
Yeah, I need some info. I had a rough weekend.
Give me all the
Well,
info.
first of all, it seems pretty cut and dry that you don't bet on the NFL.
You shouldn't.
No.
And there were ways in the past before all this was on our apps and stuff, which, by the way, if you haven't figured out, very easy to track these things. Random people can do it. The NFL can do it.
I swear, the other day I was peeing in the woods and then they instantly popped up on my phone, do you need toilet paper? Like they just know. I don't know how they know, but they do. It's unbelievable.
And you're like, yes. And then an Amazon robot dropped it from the
A
sky.
little drone.
Right. I turned off my phone. Easy there, buddy. Quit looking at the little guy.
But another thing that's become a problem is that you've had players bet on other sports, but do it from inside the team facility. Which is also a no-no.
That's a dumb.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. It's 2023.
What?
I think that's what happened with Jameson Williams.
I
if
don't
I'm not
agree. I
mistaken.
don't agree that why can't they bet on an MLB game?
Well, they can. They just can't do it at work.
I know, but who cares? Why? I just bet on a game an hour ago at work.
Lawrence
Yeah,
has a
but
very valid
you have
point.
no control over the outcome of any games.
Well, no, but
which I guess
no,
you
I'm
argue
saying
this-
an NFL player wouldn't have a control over a baseball game. Like,
If after practice some dude at the facility is making a bet on the Cubs and the whoever they're playing this week, the Mets tomorrow, who cares?
Yeah, I don't have a great argument against it, but
But I think the argument is I don't want you on your phone at the facility looking at gambling websites because it just seems like a bad idea. Period.
yeah, read the playbook.
Right.
Come on, be like Sand God.
well, I guess
Sand
my
God would never.
original question was going to be, how nervous are you that just some random Wednesday there could be a suspension of 6 Bears players just out of nowhere, just like it happened to the Lions? It just seems like this could be like the random thing that all of a sudden changes the course of the season for some of these teams.
No, it definitely could. I mean, like, obviously that was kind of like COVID in a way where you didn't know what players were going to test positive. You had to game plan differently. Now is it going to be in the new age, 2023, who's going to get suspended for gambling?
Let's bet on which bear is gambling behind the scenes. Want to make a gamble there, Lawrence? You got
Yeah,
anybody?
if there's good odds on someone, I'm in.
It seems pretty obvious to me, though, that the NFL, these teams, there's either got to be better education on it or a better solution here to figure this out because I agree with, I think, points that have been made here by everyone. Like, one, okay, you can't be gambling on NFL games. That's an obvious one. Okay. But two, do we really need to be suspending these guys because they're betting on the PGA Championship inside a team facility in May? You know, like, that seems a little excessive.
Aggressive, yeah.
So just make it clear.
All I know is that it's a different world out there because last night I normally would not be betting Celtics Heat in the middle of a basketball game. But Boston was getting killed. It was game 3. I'm like, you all are going to come back, right? You're going to have some level of heart, Jason Tatum, correct? And so I, threw the old 20 buckarooski on the Celtics to come back, and I got 12.5 points, and they lost by 100. so
when did you place that bet?
It's like late second quarter.
When it was obvious they were already mailing it in?
It wasn't obvious. They came out of halftime and they were all pumped up, and
they just.
I heard Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo both say this morning that it looked like in the second quarter they had no juice even in the second quarter.
They came back late in the second quarter. That's not true. And then they start the second half. They just couldn't shoot. Whatever. Maybe I don't know what the hell's happened. But it was a horrible bet. And the point is that the NFL, every league they've got to develop a very strong system here, or warning system for this is on your phone. You are going to be tempted. You are going to have information that others don't. You're going to think you're smarter than everyone. Don't do this because we're going to catch you. Period. End of story.
And then just a picture of Pete Rose. But also, I mean, every one of these leagues is sponsored by one of these websites, and
it's everywhere.
It's on every commercial break. You get Paige Spiranek dancing or whatever it is. What's his name from Curb? My guy. Whatever. Anyways, he's good.
Escape me.
Anyways,
Oh,
it's a tough.
JB Smoove. That's Carm's
Smoove,
guy.
Yeah.
That is my guy.
By the way, some breaking news out of the league meeting going on right now. But the one significant thing I think that's been approved is allowing a third quarterback to be active without burning a roster spot. So essentially, you're going to be allowed to have 3 active quarterbacks, but one's not going to count towards your inactives on Sunday.
I mean, shout out
Nathan Peterman suiting up, the third QB.
This could be big for Peterman.
Well, the point of it is that you don't get in a situation where you don't have a quarterback in the second half because of injury, and it's like, who wants to watch a game without a quarterback?
There's a ton of tweets out there.
Obviously, you'd rather watch Nathan Peterman.
Tom Pelissero, NFL owners approved the bylaw proposal allowing teams to dress a third QB without using an active roster spot. A no-brainer to bring it back in the aftermath of the 49er playoff game.
Does that mean Carm has to list his roster 1 to 54 now, or what? Or 50? Wait, 50? What? What am I saying? Is there an extra roster spot now?
They're technically right.
No,
like
just who's active on game day.
Okay, so yeah, I get it.
It'll be something else that has to be in every reporter's tweet in the morning. Third quarterback is whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I do need this without using an active roster.
So it would be 54. No? Without.
Well, I guess I'm a little confused on, does this mean you're active 46 on game day, or are you allowed to basically have a practice squad quarterback active? I thought it was the first.
Gary's saying it's the latter.
Means third.
That's third QB.
There's one man I trust with everything in life. It's Gary. And apparently I didn't respond to Gary over the weekend. And he thought he was mad at me. Gary, I'm never mad at you. Ever. You're my guy. Know that.
All right.
Are we talking about the Athletic article at all, or do we just breeze through that?
Lots to talk about today for Monday's show.
We'll have to table it for a different day, I guess.
Take that, fish man.
And John's.
I thought it was a great job, Kevin and Adam and the Athletic.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people contributing.
A lot of different quotes on Justin Fields. We'll get to it later in the week, I think. Do you want to talk about Jim Brown?
We have time, I'd say.
I mean, we could do Fields, but we can do Brown. Let's talk about Jim Brown.
No, I meant we have time because it's the off season and we have 5 shows
today.
a week.
Oh.
I got it.
About 6 hours of.
So it's
every
1
week.
o'clock. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what time was.
by.
Show's flying through. All right, just real quick then. Jim Brown passed away. Jim Brown's got a complicated legacy that we're not going to talk about right now. We are going to talk about just for 5 seconds how incredible of a football player this dude was and an athlete. And so I'm sitting there reading a piece that was written by Sports Illustrated back in 2015. And it starts out with running back Jim Brown led the NFL in rushing with 1,544 yards in a 14-game season. An astonishing 677 more yards than the runner-up in 1965, who was Gale Sayers as a rookie. So I got to Gale Sayers. I didn't read the last 4 words, who was a rookie. And I instantly was like, was that the year that Sayers got hurt? And so then I got to, no, Sayers got hurt in 1968, and he was cracked into by a guy by the name of Kermit Alexander, who played for the 49ers, who apparently leaped over a guard, cracked Sayers' knee, and they didn't have the technology back then that they do today, and Sayers was never the same. So then I go on down a rabbit hole about Kermit Alexander and what happened to him. And he got death threats at the time.
Wow.
And he grew up in California, in Watts, tough area. And his mom was like the mayor of Watts, was making peanut butter sandwiches for everybody in the neighborhood. And Kermit was like one of 10. And it's this incredible story. And then horrible, tragic story where in 1984, there was some gang revenge thing, and they were given an address and they read it wrong, and they walk into this dude's house, Kermit's house, and end up and killing his mom, his siblings. This whole, like, just the worst story ever. And then he goes and he like years later, when he had given up on life but came back, and then he adopted kids from Haiti. And this is the most heroic story. And now, like, tracking the story the whole way, his wife is out there with him, like they're traveling the country, raising money for ALS, because he's fighting that now. It was the most bizarre Sunday rabbit hole at Panera when I met my guy to start the show ever. Wow. And at any rate, I just shout out to Kermit and his family and just that horrible story and what he's doing now to raise awareness. It's like an unbelievable life, and it's weirdly tied into Gale Sayers and Jim Brown. And here's my other one for you, Hoge. Paul Brown was a longtime offensive line coach. Paul Brown's longtime offensive line coach was Frederick Heisler when Brown was there, who was a studious tactician who was among the first teachers of the system that came to be known as zone blocking. So the scheme that they were using that helped Jim Brown be Jim Brown, not that he needed a whole lot of help, is what the Bears are doing today, damn it. So it's all tied together, Jim Brown.
There it is.
I don't know if anybody made sense of what I was just saying, but it was...
Not really.
I really... It's fun to go through history. I mean... And he was apparently Bill Belichick's favorite player growing up. Belichick's got a quote in there. He visited prisons with Brown, supported his work with at-risk youth. Quote, he's a guy who has a handle on life. He worked with the worst of the worst, the baddest of the bad. He can and can get them under control. Really an incredible man. I hope people understand that. And then, of course, there's the other side of it. 5 times in his life, Brown had been accused of violence against women. And then his current wife has a comment in there, we had an argument, Jim damaged his own property. There's never been any domestic violence in our home. He has talked to our son. I mean, Jim Brown was in his 60s, marrying a 25-year-old and having kids. Oh. Shout out to those. Shout out to.
I'd rather talk about Jim Brown and Running Man, because that was fantastic.
He didn't want to quit playing when he quit playing, too. And the part of why he stopped was the Dirty Dozen was still being filmed, and Paul Brown was fining him $100 a day for not being at training camp. Talk about owners cutting off your nose to spite your face. So it's like, all right, later, I'm out of here. But
Get to practice.
Yeah, I still think arguably the best running back in the history of the NFL.
All right, let's end it here.
Most power, most speed.
Nick sent the photo of the Homer Simpson mountain.
See?
I guess,
my
sure.
God.
It's
Sure,
Homer Simpson.
He's kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, now I can't get that image out
I
of
thought
my
you were
head.
like literally saying there's like a Homer Simpson mural.
Oh, no. He's in the cave. That's what we saw there. One of our tour guides was saying that. Now, every time I look at it, can't unsee it.
Ow!
Okay.
Boom.
I actually, that's interesting. I had not seen that. Matt Nagy says the Bears running an offense from the 1950s and 60s. That sounds about right.
Your first play, Matt
that's
Nagy.
not the point,
What was
Nagy.
your first play at Green Bay? You did it.
Yeah, in your face, Nagy. Boom. How about that? Running the T formation.
Yeah.
Right back at you, buddy.
Boom.
I will give you this one nugget, though, on Bears scheme, because it's tied back. This is from the Fish and John story in The Athletic. It's tied back to the conversation we had last week and went out on social over the weekend, which was us trying to figure out how many passing attempts per game for the Bears.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He one of the people they talked to in the story is Robert Griffin. This is straight from the piece. Robert Griffin knows the system Fields is running well. His quarterback coach in Washington was Matt LaFleur, who hired Luke Getsy as the Packers quarterbacks coach in 2019. The assistant offensive line coach on that 2012 team, Chris Morgan, the Bears' current offensive line coach. The offense is designed to emphasize the running game and make things easier for the quarterback. When the system is working, there will be around 25 passes per game, and Fields will complete 20 of them, Griffin said. There will be 5 to 10 gimme completions. Quote, they've got to win with their run game and movement pass game, including him in the running game. This is a different opposing defensive line coach. That's where their threat lies. In the fourth quarter, any dynamic athlete can make plays. He has that ability for sure. So, there's a surprise, Robert Griffin trying to say what I was trying to say, but doing it in a lot better way than I did. But my overall point that I'm not necessarily expecting a giant increase in passing attempts. When the offense is working, this is a run-first offense where they're probably going to have a lead, ideally, if it's working, right? And so you're looking at 25 passes per game, and ideally he's completing 20 of them. That'd be a great completion percentage.
425 is what that comes out to over 17 games.
When I read that, my first thought was that you had inside information when we had that discussion the other day.
No, I did not.
Is that not true? It's not true. Okay.
No, I just
Hoge football sense.
I understand the offense, I think, and because the other side of it is, yes, you had more opportunities, as Nick brought up, but also if you're winning football games, which the Bears were never doing last year,
Should be running the ball.
you'll be running the ball more, protecting a lead. Sounds kind of nice, doesn't it?
Does
All right,
sound nice.
Bears. It's time to go. But
I was reading Braggs'.
Braggs was, for those listening to the audio, Braggs was texting me random photos of, this was Lakeshore Drive in 1965.
Yeah.
And, you get that text just out of context in the middle of the day, and I don't know what I wrote back, but it was something taking a fun playing full shot at Gregory Braggs. Like, what are you?
But his point is, you're saying how much you love looking back at history, but he was sending you photos of Lakeshore Drive, and you made fun of him.
I did. He sent me a picture of 1970 Lakeshore Drive. I wrote back, "Wow." And then he wrote back after that, "Can you imagine the traffic jams and accidents on this road with 2 smiley faces?" And then I wrote back, "Are you okay?" Who cares about what the traffic jams were on Lakeshore Drive in 1970 at 10:56 in the morning on Friday? And then he wrote back, "Yes, are you? I'll answer that for you. No, you're not, especially in the head." And then I wrote back, "Can you send me a picture of the Eden's Expressway in 1950? I mean, like, what a weird guy.
Sorry, Greg.
And that'll do it for.
And that'll do
the
it.
Hang on, I
CHGO
want to put the
Oh,
Uh-oh.
what's
this on the
happening?
quarterback rule. the actual text of the
okay, here we go.
what was just passed. 1 hour and 30 minutes prior to kickoff, each club is required to establish its active list for the game of inactives. Each club may also designate one emergency third quarterback from its 53-player active-inactive list. Elevated players are not eligible for designation. Elevated as in practice squad players.
Hoge greater than Gary.
You got clarification.
Just making sure. Yeah. Club is not eligible to use these procedures if it carries on its.
Seems still a little complicated. Not gonna lie.
Breaking news. I've got to give it. I'm really sorry, Lawrence, but I got to do it.
Here we go.
Tennis playoffs. Top 8 seeds make the playoffs. I got screwed in the scheduling. Didn't get to play the bottom half. And so I was the 9 seed and missed the playoffs. And I thought about emailing the director and saying I am upset and I'm not playing in some practice match. But I didn't do it because I saw Rick A. limp off the court the other day, and I just got the text, Rick A. is out of the playoffs with a knee injury, so you've been elevated to the playoff field as the 7th seed, and we'll play Brent tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and I am coming for you, Brent, and you're going down because the knee's feeling better, and I'm making a statement. Brent,
Hell
9
yeah.
tomorrow.
So you're celebrating another player's injury right
Yeah.
now. And
Hey, he's in the playoffs.
when we talked about this last
Sucks
week.
for you, Rick A.
Last week you said everybody was in the playoffs.
That's what I thought.
And you agreed with me that it was dumb. But you then sent an email to the director saying it was stupid?
I
No,
thought
he
about
thought
it.
about it.
I thought about it. And
Hey,
saying that
Mark's
I'm
in the
not playing any
dance.
practice matches because he's got me against like the last place guy in the division below me tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm not putting my knee in that position. But I didn't
Mark's
do
in the
that because I was hoping that Rick A was going to bail out of the playoffs. And now I'm in the playoffs and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe make a Lakers-like run.
I'm feeling like I'm the Heat. I'm
Heat,
Jimmy
yep.
Butler, man. I was in the playing game.
It's not
When
the
I think
Lakers.
of
Okay.
Jimmy Butler, I think of Mark Carman. Every time.
Jimmy,
Killer instinct.
Jimmy.
amazing.
Jimmy, congratulations, Jimmy. Seriously.
Jimmy
This
G
is
gets
the-
buckets.
Jimmy G.
Reminder, tomorrow, double show. We're,
Go Brent from Brian Nenninger. That's funny.
it's funny. Noon, right here, Mark Carman, Kevin Kaduk, and the Sack Man. Richard Dent here in studio, live on the CHGO Bears podcast. That is at noon. Nick and I will be at Hallis Hall. We will have your full OTA recap show, 3 o'clock. We're pretty confident it will be at 3. Maybe subject to change depending on if how the day plays out, but really it should be a 3. I'm fairly confident it'll be a 3 o'clock show. So 3 o'clock for the Bears OTAs. You get 2 editions of the CHGO Bears podcast tomorrow. Can't wait. Richard Dent at noon right here tomorrow on Tuesday. Talk to you then.